Hi, everybody. Welcome to First Look. It is Monday, March 26th, 2007. I'm Katie Couric along with Bill Owens. We're just talking about the rundown for tonight's show. And needless to say, we're focusing initially on the Edwards campaign because Elizabeth Edwards gave a speech today in Cleveland. She's out on the campaign trail. And a lot of people are talking about this campaign, the choices that they've made, and they're watching them, I think, really giving John Edwards in many ways a second look, don't you think?
They were on 60 Minutes last night.
Really?
Yeah. It was a really good interview, interesting, full of a lot of news. And we're following on a conversation that was started by a reporter who works for this very broadcast last night. And it is where Sharon Alfonsi is in the field with them today in Ohio, trying to take the temperature of people who are showing up at the Edwards rally and talking to some political consultants about how viable really is the Edwards campaign right now, maybe more than it was last week. But Sharon's going to get to the bottom of that, and we're going to use some of the excerpts, some of the things you didn't see on 60 Minutes in this evening's broadcast.
It's interesting, just as a quick aside, just the two of us talking, and for your benefit, or lack thereof, but it's interesting how much conversation about love, commitment, mortality, priorities, responsibility, this is really spawned as a result of this very human story. And, I think a lot of people have opinions. I actually saw Jeannie Matusameh Ashe, Arthur Ashe's widow, this morning, and she and I were having a conversation about it. And it was interesting just hearing her perspective, and we were just talking about it because obviously Arthur died of AIDS, and my husband died of colon cancer, and it's just I think your personal experience really informs the way you view their decision. And we were just talking about how judgmental society is, and in this case I think it was interesting that John Edwards said, I welcome people to evaluate my decision
make your own
and my
decisions.
choices, and but anyway, that was a quick aside. So Gloria's going to talk about how this affects, did you mention that, the rest of the race or the rest of the field?
We have, and Gloria Borger's looking into the Democratic field and what it means for them. And a story that we broke on Friday, David Martin is going to follow on the Pat Tillman investigation. The Pentagon's going to release the sort of last chapter in a really sad story.
We should remind people real quickly, Bill, that Pat Tillman was a football player for the Arizona Cardinals, and he became emblematic of the outpouring of patriotism that occurred after September 11th. He enlisted, was it in the Marines?
He
in
was
the
an
Army
Ranger,
Rangers, and he went to Afghanistan. And there's been a lot of questioning about the circumstances surrounding his death, right, in terms of the friendly fire. Was it friendly fire initially, and then was there a cover-up, right?
That's right, exactly right. And that's what the final report is going to get to. Family notification. The family was really kept in the dark for about a month when the Pentagon apparently did have the facts and could have shared those with the family. So that's a story that we've been following for some time, and we'll continue on this evening.
John LaPook is doing something about the overstenting
of heart patient populations. That's right. And now's our opportunity to throw to Wyatt Andrews for Wyatt Andrews' piece on negotiating your health care bill after, in many cases, emergencies, or anytime you go to a doctor, you have to take a hard look at your bill. So
Wyatt, take it away.
Thanks, Katie. If you're one of those people who has ever gotten one of those medical bills complete with all these Byzantine codes, you don't know what's on the bill, if you're being overcharged, then you're going to want to watch tonight's story. We're going to profile a young Detroit landscaper who, after a terrible accident to his arm, a chainsaw cut almost through his arm, he got a $39,000 bill for a 3-hour operation. He didn't know where to turn, so he found someone called a billing advocate, which, as it turns out, is a growth industry in America. And the billing advocate believed that his bill, after she sorted through all of the codes, should have been closer to $7,000. So we'll show you how that sorted out. We'll also have an interview with the governor of West Virginia, who believes he has a very innovative idea for how to fix this Byzantine system where through all the codes, you don't know whether you're being overcharged, you don't know what all the codes mean. He had a knee operation and he couldn't figure out his own bill, and again, he's the governor of West Virginia. There are a number of people in America, especially these billing advocates, the folks trained to sort out what all the codes mean and whether you're being overcharged, who believe that virtually every hospital bill issued to every patient in the country has some sort of error on it. So tonight we're going to drill down into what is the deal with this complex system for medical bills and how can you protect yourself against overcharges, duplicate charges, and generally sorting through a very complex, overly complex system. How can you protect yourself? Katie?
And finally tonight, Bill Whitaker is going to be doing a piece about the Postal Service raising the cost of a stamp to 41 cents.
41 cents.
Do you remember? I remember them when they were 15 cents.
Yeah, I remember 13.
I remember when McDonald's French fries were a dime. You're much younger than I am, but no, we used to go in my family's station wagon, and hamburgers I think were 15 cents,
Yeah.
and French fries were a dime. Isn't that crazy?
My sister worked at McDonald's, and I remember her giving me a Shamrock shake for free.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, see, I didn't have those kinds of connections.
Yeah, I was really pretty
Alas,
plugged in.
alack. Anyway, so that wraps it up. That's this Monday edition of First Look. I appreciate my friend Bill Owens participating in this little ditty with me. Thank you, Bill.
Pleasure.
Now get back to work.
All right.
Okay, bye, everybody.